My father, Henry, always said that a house wasn't just bricks and mortar. He called it an ark. He built our family home in Austin with his own 2 hands when I was only 5 years old. I can still smell the fresh cedar and hear the rhythm of his hammer. It was my alarm clock every single summer. For him, it was a matter of honor. For me, it was everything I knew. But for the last 2 years, that house smelled of medicine, ozone, and silence. I was there every single day. I gave up a promising career in Dallas just to be by his side, to scrub the floors, manage his IV drips, and hold his hand when he forgot what year it was. I watched as his once mighty hands that could bend rebar, became thin and transparent like old parchment. And my sister, Lisa, she was everywhere except that house. Miami, Paris, London. Her Instagram feed was a blur of champagne glasses and private beaches. She called maybe once a month, and her first question was never, "How is Dad?" It was always, "Has the payout from the trust fund cleared yet?" When Dad took his last breath, I wasn't thinking about his millions. I was thinking about the hollow silence in his workshop. But Lisa arrived before his body was even cold. She didn't walk in with flowers. She walked in with a measuring tape. She started measuring the living room and taking photos of the antiques, as if she weren't in her dead father's home, but in a liquidation warehouse. "This is all going to auction next month," she snapped, not even looking at me. I stood there, stunned by her coldness, thinking it was just her twisted way of grieving. I was an idiot. The real nightmare started 3 days later, when a man in a cheap gray suit appeared on my doorstep with a folder designed to erase me from this family's history. The man in the gray suit was Lisa's personal attorney. He didn't offer condolences. Instead, he handed me a document that felt heavier than lead. It was a new will, supposedly signed by my father just 2 weeks before he died. According to this paper, I was being left with nothing, not even the tools in the garage. The house, the savings, the entire estate. It all went to Lisa. "This is impossible," I stammered, my hands shaking. Dad was barely conscious 2 weeks ago. He couldn't even hold a pen, let alone sign a legal document. Lisa stepped out from behind the attorney, a smirk playing on her lips. "People change their minds, Mark," she said coldly. "Maybe he finally realized that staying here and playing nurse was just your way of begging for his money. He wanted someone who actually lived life to have his legacy." The next 48 hours were a blur of legal threats. Lisa didn't just want the house, she wanted me out immediately. She called the police, claiming I was trespassing on her property. I stood on the sidewalk, watching as a locksmith changed the bolts on the front door, the same door I had polished every week for years. I was at my lowest point, sitting in my old truck with a few bags of clothes, looking at the dark windows of my father's workshop. That's when I remembered something Dad used to say. The loudest person in the room is usually the one with the weakest hand. I knew my father. He was a man of contingencies. He didn't just build houses, he built secrets into them. And I realized that if Lisa had a fake will, the real one had to be somewhere she would never think to look. I waited until 3 in the morning. Lisa was likely asleep in the master bedroom, dreaming of the luxury cars she'd buy with Dad's money. I didn't use the front door. I knew about the loose window in the basement that Dad never bothered to fix, or maybe he left it that way for a reason. I crawled through the darkness, my flashlight cutting a thin line through the dust. The house felt different. It felt like it was morning. I made my way to the workshop in the back. Lisa had already cleared out the expensive power tools. but she had left the heavy, grease-stained workbench. To her, it was just a piece of junk. To my father, it was his altar. I remembered a summer when I was 10. I dropped a marble, and it rolled under the bench, disappearing into a crack. Dad had laughed and said, "Everything has a false bottom, Mark. You just have to know where to press." My heart was racing as I ran my fingers under the heavy oak edge. My knuckles hit something metal, a latch. I pressed it, and a small, shallow drawer, invisible to the naked eye, slid open with a soft click. Inside, there was no paper. There was a single, old-fashioned brass key and a USB drive with a note taped to it. The note was in Dad's handwriting. It said, "For the son who stayed. Watch the video before they find you." I retreated to my truck, parked a mile away, and plugged the USB drive into my laptop. The screen flickered to life, revealing a video recorded in my father's workshop just 10 days before he passed. He looked tired, but his eyes were sharper than I'd seen them in years. "Mark," he began, his voice raspy but firm. "If you're watching this, Lisa has already shown her true colors. I knew she would. I saw her searching my office while she thought I was napping. I saw her taking photos of my private files. So, I decided to give her exactly what she wanted, a fake. The will she has? I wrote it myself, including the flaws in the signature that only a forensic expert would notice. I let her find it, just to see if she'd actually use it to betray her own blood." He took a slow sip of water and leaned closer to the camera. "The key you found opens a safe deposit box at the First National Bank in the next county. Inside is the original, notarized will, the one I signed months ago with my lawyer in Dallas. In that version, Lisa gets a small inheritance, enough to live on, but only if she doesn't contest the estate. If she tries to steal the house or forge a document, she gets nothing. Not a single cent. I've led her into a trap of her own making, Mark. Now it's up to you to spring it." I sat there in the cold cabin of my truck, the blue light of the screen illuminating the tears on my face. He had protected me even when he was fading away. But as I closed the laptop, I saw a pair of headlights approaching in my rearview mirror. Lisa wasn't as asleep as I thought she was. The chase was short but terrifying. Lisa had seen me leaving the workshop and followed me, her headlights blinding in my mirror. But she didn't realize I wasn't running away. I was driving straight to the sheriff's department. I spent the night in the station, protected by the law, and at 9 a.m. sharp, I was standing at the First National Bank with my father's attorney from Dallas. When we opened the safe deposit box, it felt like Dad was in the room with us. Inside was the final will, bound in blue leather, and a signed affidavit explaining exactly how Lisa had forged the previous document. It was a masterstroke. 2 weeks later, we were in court. Lisa arrived in a $3,000 suit, still acting like she owned the world. But when my attorney played the video and presented the forensic report on her forged signature, her face turned the color of ash. The judge didn't just dismiss her case, he referred it to the district attorney for criminal fraud. According to the no contest clause in the real will, Lisa was officially disinherited. She lost the house, the money, and her reputation in a single afternoon. As I walked out of the courtroom, she tried to stop me, her eyes wild with desperation. "Mark, please, we're family," she cried. I didn't say a word. I just remembered Dad's hammer hitting the cedar, the sound of building something that lasts. I went back to the house, but I didn't sell it. I opened the workshop windows, let the Texas sun in, and picked up my father's old hammer. The lines were finally clear. Justice wasn't just about the money. It was about honoring the man who built an ark for the son who stayed.
You don't know the full story. Full confession. To confession room. Shocking twist. To twisted truths. Control and mindset to quiet power. Deeper meaning to unset lines. Final message to last words never said.